Christianity is the world's largest religion, with over 2 billion followers spanning from the United States to some of the most stringent dictatorships, including North Korea. Although Christianity originated in the Middle Eastern region of Judea, it is frequently linked with the Western world today, despite being a worldwide faith with Middle Eastern foundations. Nevertheless, this perception may be due to Christianity's limited spread in regions further east, such as Asia, compared to its success in the West. Starting from its center in Judea, Christianity initially spread to the surrounding countries of the Levant, which are now known as Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, and Cyprus. This expansion led to Christianity's spread into the Asian continent, with Antioch becoming a new hub for the faith. This shift was largely due to the evangelization efforts of Peter the Apostle, as well as Paul and Barnabas. Apostles Thaddeus, Bartholomew, Simon, and Andrew extended their evangelizing efforts to Armenia and Georgia, respectively, helping the growing religion reach further into the Eastern world. Christianity also spread through Mesopotamia and Parthia and is believed to have reached India on its journey to the Far East. It is believed that during these early centuries, Nestorian Christians migrated from what is now Iraq to China. The earliest known evidence of this contact dates back to the Tang dynasty between the 7th and 10th centuries. In 635 AD, a priest named Alopen established the early Christian mission in China. Despite opposition from local Buddhists and Taoists, he received a warm welcome from the emperor himself. Christianity in China initially experienced rapid growth, but later stalled under less accepting imperial rulers. Efforts to evangelize resumed during the Mongol period, as its leaders were generally more religiously tolerant. The influential Kublai Khan, along with many of his relatives, even married a Nestorian woman, further facilitating the spread of Christianity. Under Mongol rule, Christianity was not only tolerated, but welcomed. When Catholic missionaries attempted to convert the Mongols centuries later, they were astonished to discover that Christianity had already reached them. In response to a request for assistance in strengthening the Chinese Yuan dynasty, Pope Nicholas IV sent John of Montecorvino, a Franciscan missionary, to the Mongol court. John was dedicated to strengthening and expanding the Christian faith in the Chinese territories. He even learned the Mongolian language to translate parts of the Bible for the local population. His efforts resulted in the further expansion of Christianity in the region, with some converts shifting from Eastern Nestorian to Western Catholic Christianity. However, with the fall of the Yuan dynasty in China, evangelism in the region also declined as the Ming dynasty took over and quickly expressed their intolerance. Despite this, Christianity did not vanish entirely in China, and its presence and growth continued to fluctuate over the following centuries. As of 2018, China is home to an estimated 20 million Christian adults, representing roughly 2% of the population. While this is a significant number, it pales in comparison to the over 60% of the population in America identifying as Christian. China was, of course, far from the only Far East country to be reached by Christianity. In Taiwan, English and Canadian Presbyterians successfully established their religion. Following the communist takeover of mainland China, many mainland residents moved to Taiwan, leading to a significant increase in the Christian population. Today, Christians make up around 3% of Taiwan's population. While this is still small compared to Western nations, it is nonetheless significant. Japan initially embraced Christianity more readily, yet the present-day situation is quite different. Today, Christians in Japan make up only about 1% of the population, despite the large number of converts when Christianity first arrived in the country centuries ago. The 17th century signaled the decline of Christianity's prosperous period in Japan, known as the Christian Century. Despite this downturn, some believers persisted. When Christian missionaries were allowed to return centuries later, they found that a faithful remnant had endured. Other Asian countries, like North Korea, also have covert Christians due to the evangelism efforts of many American Protestants in the 1800s. These early Korean Christians rapidly became dedicated and eager to spread their newfound faith on their own. As a result, modern-day South Korea hosts some of the world's largest Christian churches and now sends a substantial number of missionaries overseas. Today, nearly 30% of South Korea's population identifies as Christian. Even under North Korea's strict totalitarian regime, it is estimated that about 1% of the population, similar to Japan, follows the Christian faith. The Philippines boasts the largest Christian population in any East Asian country, largely due to nearly 400 years of Spanish colonization, which established a significant Catholic community. Protestants also arrived in the Philippines during the later period of American rule, with many missionaries aiming to convert those who had not been reached by the Catholics. Today, an impressive 78% to 90% of the population, depending on the source, identifies as Christian. This represents over 85 million individuals. The extraordinary success of Christian missionaries is largely due to the significant backing from Catholic Spaniards, followed by Protestant Americans during the colonial era. Moreover, with no widespread centralized religion to compete with the newly introduced faith, the Philippines was essentially an open door for Christians to enter and spread their teachings. Other Asian countries, including Thailand, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Cambodia, Vietnam, and India, have small yet notable Christian populations. These communities primarily arose from limited missionary activities and, in Vietnam's case, the recent dominance of communist ideology. Another major reason why Christianity did not thrive in these countries is the presence of competing religions like Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism. This factor might be the most significant reason why Christianity did not spread as rapidly or widely in the Far East as it did in the West. Even if some Asian countries had received more Christian missionaries and had a more unified effort from Nestorian, Catholic, and Protestant evangelists, it likely would have had less impact than the presence of a well-established local religion to resist its spread. Converting Buddhists to Christianity proved particularly challenging. Consequently, countries with strong Buddhist traditions like Thailand tended to resist missionary efforts even more. Most Christians in these nations were immigrants or non-local converts, although some local Buddhist converts did exist. Furthermore, countries with strong Buddhist traditions, such as Sri Lanka, also had significant Hindu and Muslim populations. Islam, in particular, has historically resisted external influences exceptionally well and remains the most widely practiced religion throughout Asia. Following Islam, Hinduism, not Buddhism, is the second most prevalent religion in Asia. In India, Hinduism posed a significant challenge for Christian evangelists. Another reason Christianity struggled to spread in Asia is that the Roman Empire controlled the Middle East when the faith originated, making it more likely for the religion to expand westward rather than eastward. Additionally, the geographic placement of Christian empires compared to large Islamic empires played a role. Historically, Christians were generally positioned to the west and Muslims to the east, contributing to the limited spread of Christianity in the Far East. Furthermore, religions often spread through conquest and colonization, which were more feasible closer to the home bases of Christian nations. Long-distance military expeditions were more challenging, limiting the spread of Christianity far from these centers. Moreover, some suggest that Eastern culture itself may have been another significant reason for Christianity's limited spread in the region. Eastern cultures often emphasized guiding principles and a more philosophical approach to life, making religions like Christianity or Islam seem foreign and counterintuitive. However, the eventual widespread success of Islam suggests that Eastern Asians were willing to embrace such ideas when there was greater exposure and an early introduction. Thus, while no single reason explains why Christianity failed to take a strong hold in most Asian nations, several factors can be identified. The strong presence of Islam. the established belief systems such as Buddhism, and the limited exposure to the Christian world. Today, Christianity is the world's largest religion. However, in Asia, particularly in the Far East, it remains a significant minority.